Welcome back to Not the Garage Shed podcast. This is the Bass Hive HiveCast. I've been invited down to Garage Shed HQ for this podcast, and my guest today, the male in line, called him a handsome male. He is DJ, producer, and chocolate orange enthusiast. Is Mr. Gavin Foord.
The Daily Mail did call me handsome. That's right. Yeah, good research.
That is the top of my research. You've recently done a guest mix for us. We're going to talk about. Me. Yes, thank you for being the first one. We're going to talk about the guest mix. We're going to talk about Garage Shed. We're going to talk about FooR and a couple of things on this wall as well. We're here in Southampton, in your HQ, and you've got a whole little workspace and studio here. How did you sort of find this space and develop it to be sort of this multi-purpose area?
Before FooR, we've done lots of different things. But we had successful clothing brands, and we literally rented out. It's like just behind that bit, which you can't see behind the door, is like a bit that's about the size of this desk. And literally, that was just where we kept the clothes and shelved them out. And there used to be a whole marketing company across this whole thing, and we were just in the corner.
Because you used to share this with another company. And you've taken it over.
We've taken it over like during lockdown. Yeah, they've all got. Well, the marketing company went years ago. And then me and my friend who we run, shout out to Lee Murray, who we run the clothing company with. He is a graphic designer. He does all of our logos. We took it over for the graphic design business and the clothes business, and then he took over it, and we just had the studio at the end and just had a desk here where we just did general FooR stuff. And then, he's moved to Spain now, and it's all ours.
What I found doing some research is that you kind of behind the scenes in way more things than I realised you were. And obviously being the front man of FooR, as well as behind the scenes on Garage Shed, Yosh, and all these other projects, clothing that you've got going on. At one time you were just Gavin Foord. So how does one man become the person behind all of these different these enterprises, if you like? Where did it start? What was the first?
The first ever brand or logo thing was we were in me and John, who's also in FooR. We had a group called CLSM, which was a hardcore group. Did your research show that?
I didn't see that. No.
That's because you had a different name in that, so that would have been really impressive if you found that.
Okay.
So we had a group called CLSM, and we run that together, and we run a record label. This is when vinyls were still about, and we did really well with, as well as you can with hardcore, but we had the first hardcore record we played on Radio 1 in like 15 years, number 9 in John Peel's Festive 50, ahead of, what's that? Dun, 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 dun.
Seven Nation Army.
We were one ahead of them in that chart that year. We started a movement that got hardcore onto Radio 1, the Kutsky show that was pioneered. John led the movement, but obviously CLSM was real passionate about it. Mm-hmm. So got that. So that was our first thing, and then we stopped that because vinyl sales stopped, and we couldn't figure out how it was going to make enough money for two people to survive. Making hardcore we didn't get many gigs from it, and vinyl sales kept us going. So
you and John started out, and you've always worked together from then until now.
Yeah, we met in 1996.
How soon or long after that was FooR formed?
We did first CLSM record in 2002, and then stopped probably 2005, 2004, and then I was general manager of a nightclub. I wanted to buy a flat before my nan died. She's the one who supported my DJ, so I wanted to show her that things are going to be all right. So I got a normal job, as normal as you can for me. So I was general manager of a nightclub, paying tax of course I paid tax on CLSM, obviously, of course I did, but you know what I mean, like a proper job so I could show proper earnings and like monthly thing to get a flat, and took a break from it. And then I become, being a general manager of a nightclub, the owner of the nightclub used to DJ, Then I started buying his records for him because I used to work in a record shop. That's where me and John met. We both used to work at the same record shop, and I used to buy his records for him to DJ. He's an R&B DJ though, and then I just used to start DJing for him because he was just rubbish. So I started DJing R&B, but I just knew the records from buying them. Wasn't really my thing, and then just become like a commercial DJ, well, an R&B DJ. Then I did, because the other things that I do student nights, and then I was DJing like 7 nights a week.
So music's always been the goal to get into music industry. Has it always been the performance side, or did production come in later?
Production was first, because when we were in the record shop, like it was me, John, and James Abila, and James Abila like went on to become like one of the best DJs in the world. John made music. This was before I knew him. I used to buy his records in the record shop. There used to be a studio upstairs, and a guy called Mr. Punch, Steve, used to teach me how to use the equipment. And then it was always like, oh, what are you going to do, Gavin? What are you going to do? Like, because I thought, this is when James Abila used to watch him DJ. I used to think James Abila just used to be the resident at a club called Rhino, which is just like a normal local club. So I used to watch him DJ in the shop and think, well, if this guy is this how good you have to be a local resident? There's no way I'm going to be able to DJ, because this guy's incredible. Obviously, years down the line, he become one of the best DJs in the world. So then I thought, all right, okay. So I actually stopped DJing. I thought, I'm not going to do it because I'm not nowhere near good enough. So they're like, what are you going to do? So that's when I started promoting. The shop used to run, a hardcore DJ called Hixie used to own the shop, and we used to run an event called Adrenaline. So I started to book the DJs and promote that. This is when I was like 17, 18. And so I learned how to promote, and then still learning production upstairs, still learning bits and bobs. Then when CLSM started, I would promote the records and run the record label. John would make the records. Then I started making versions of our records. And then throughout all this managing and stuff, I always stayed in the studio whilst making the thing, making edits of records to play at gigs, I worked with some songwriters. I learned how to write songs, and then we went on and snowballed from there. And to go back to where it got to FooR in 2009, I saw Andy C DJ again. Andy C is my favourite DJ at school when I was coming up, and it made me excited about underground music again. And then I heard Fidget. Do you remember what Fidget was?
No.
You know, Crookers Day and Night.
Yep.
That's Fidget. It was like electro. It was energetic, sort of. I just thought it was energetic house music, like. And I thought, I like this. I'd like to make this. So me and John started making that. Then we started making dubstep. And then we made some good records, but not really getting anywhere. Still didn't know how to release records digitally.
You told a story recently on FooR YouTube vlog about seeing Andy C at a petrol station when you were a kid after a show, and then you had then followed them. Andy C, you played after him at a festival. So what was that sort of moment like? 'Cause that narrative.
Playing at the festival.
Playing at the festival after Andy C, who was your favourite or is your favourite?
Yeah, that's in a massive park in Southampton, like a park we used to walk through. We used to walk through that park every day, because from the record shop to the owners, used to take the take-ins down to the owner, which is walking through that park, and then we were playing in that park with Andy C, and we got the same manager as Andy C. Which had nothing to do with the booking, to be fair. But Andy C, like, never met him before. He knew who we were. He stayed and watched, which made me very nervous. I messed up a mix. But he stayed and he wouldn't call it, I don't know if he'd call it dancing, but he moved about a bit. And he was talking to Ty, like it was just...
You see him in the video interacting with Ty on stage.
It was just an amazing moment, and it's moments like that make you remember why you do this, because music's hard.
Yeah. So you on stage there with the whole group, and then you've got these people supporting you as well, big names like Andy C. we mentioned Tyrone as well. When did he sort of join the group? Because at the minute we're up you and John making dubstep. So when does it develop into
well,
that we know today?
To go from there to where Tyrone is we were making dubstep, and we had the studio here, and then I started making Gavin Foord solo records, which were drum and bass records. And my friend was was manager of Gets and Rude Kid.
Okay.
He's my best friend. So he gave me some Gets remix. I did a drum and bass remix of Gets tune, which is really good actually. I can't find it anywhere. It's not online. I've got it somewhere. I've got the file. It's really good. If I do say so myself. And we were doing that, and then Rude Kid done a version of I'm Sorry, the garage tune, or the Joel Corey tune, if you want to call it that now. And he done this remix, and Phil said, "Can you do a remix of it?" And in our studio, Aki and Dave used to rent the bottom of the studio, and I was helping them with a house and garage project called Ape Like, and I knew that this had to be a house record. I was doing drum and bass, so I was like, should we all do this remix together? And that remix went mental. It became the main version. It became our thing. It got played on all sorts of radio. It almost got signed, and then that's how it started. And then that was the four: me, Aki, Dave, and John. And then Tyrone come along. Tyrone released a record on our label, and we used to bring him out to do the record at the shows.
Because he's based same area as you, Southampton.
Yeah. So he would come out and do. Then you start to come to the shows to do it, and then you bring him out, and then obviously he's such a good host. You just would go, okay, we'll bring him back on for this and bring him back on for that, and then we had another MC, Juki, at the time, and it was like, we'll just have two MCs, and then we rebranded a bit with me and Aki at two DJs, two MCs, and then we went along like that for a bit, and then Tyrone just, he's a amazing host, and he, we watch every set on the way, we film every set, we watch them on the way back, watch there, we're always working on how to improve it, how to thing. He works really hard, like, he's obviously social media presence, so he just, he's worked himself into...
So that's interesting that you take that much time to look into each live show, and you really see them as performances, rather than just getting up and playing a set and being done with it.
We always wanted it to be visual. We wanted it to be something that people could, listen to, but also there's something going on. So he always strives to be like a presence on stage, and and we want to have things where it's, working together. Like don't want it to be like just going along with what I'm doing. Obviously, some of that is that, but also some bits, where it's incorporated. I want it to be a show, like everything. It was always going to be a show. The first gig we ever did was a festival, and I brought out singers and trumpet players, and that's always how I've wanted it to be. Like, well, how I want it for to be is like a show, and always wanted to include everyone and anyone.
All your shows do have the feel of like a proper feel-good party, and the one that springs to mind is the Boomtown set.
Yep.
From the most recent Boomtown.
Yeah, sadly it was, because it was cancelled actually. Yeah.
What was that experience like? Because the vibe in that arena, for every set I saw, whoever was playing, whether it was you, Virgie,
were you there?
Garage Girls, I wasn't, but I was sat at home watching the videos very sadly. It seemed like that atmosphere was amazing that day. In your set, you brought all the bass line, drum and bass, everything.
Yeah, it was. We did two sets that day, and we turned up, and when we turned up, the room, that arena wasn't open because it was so windy. The winds were like thing, and it was a risk. So everything on set got put back. We were worried it wasn't going to open. So there was literally not long before you watched that video, there was no one in there. It was when it opened. When we got there, it was just me, Virgie, Bush Baby stood in that massive thing. You see, look at watching. I can't remember who was playing, and I was like, "Oh, fuck's sake!" Because that was like the big one. The other one was Job Centre, and then it got pushed back, and that it filled up, and it just got busier and busier and busier, and because I knew I was doing the job centre, which was small, I was like, well, I'm going to make this one, it's a big crap. I'm going to go to I'm going to play I'm going to do everything and everything. But also, like, everyone's sets got reduced because of the thing, but they just weren't stopping us. Like, I was looking for the last one, and so I just kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going, and yeah, it was unbelievable.
So as for releasing of music, while they on the release hunt had a quiet year last year, you also had arguably one of your biggest releases with Fresh, which was not as new as people may think. That record's been around for quite a while now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's 2017, isn't it?
2017, but how come?
Oh no, it's 3 years ago. Almost exactly 3 years old. We finished. It was the last track we made on the Friends of FooR album.
And then it got. Well, was it ever released initially, or was it?
Yeah, it came out on the Friends of FooR album.
Re-released after being signed, and what people may have heard it from was the Coors Light advert.
Yeah.
How does it go from the last track on an album to being your biggest hit?
If I knew, I'd do it for all of them. It's just luck. We've actually tried to find out how it come about, but we got an email to our generic, like wearefoor@gmail.com, saying, "Oh, can we use your song in an advert? We want to use your song." Sent it on to the manager, like, this is probably a waste of time, like, but you got to look into it. And then he come back and said, "I don't think it is a waste of time." I said, "All right, cool, we were up for it." And he come back and he goes, "Oh, I think this is a big company. They won't say who it is." I was like, "All right, cool." And then we started the negotiation and stuff. And literally didn't know anything about it. And then, like, the 4th of January last year, they went, "Yeah, it's happening. It's coming. It's going to come out in February. We're good to. It's happening, and it's Coors Light." And we're like, "What, Jean-Claude Van Damme? Yeah." We're like mental.
So what was the first time you saw that ad on TV?
We all watched it round Aki's house. It's just fucking. It's just unbelievable, isn't it?
One of those moments.
Yeah, it was like before a Man United game or something.
Yeah.
It's like, to be honest, like you say about the Andy C moment being a great moment, like, you never think you're going to have an advert before a Man United game, so you don't even think, "Oh, this is what it's all about." You think, I don't believe it now. Like, when I watch 4OD and it comes up on that, I keep thinking, like, I keep looking around thinking, like, it's...
Your phone started playing.
Yeah, like, so, yeah, it's mental. But, yeah, it's great. But, yeah, it meant that we couldn't release anything because of the nature of signing a deal. And we have a tune called Ninja Bike that was going to be signed after it. But then Heady One released a song with the same sample in, literally just as the contract was about to go through. So they pulled out. So we've had, in the last 2 years, since the Friends of FooR album, I think we've had 3 records collapse, like get through to the thing, and then not happen. Ninja Bike twice. So it takes up a lot. Like, these labels don't move quickly, so it takes up so much time. We go, "Well, this is happening, then it stops. You have to regroup and stuff." So that's why it's been quiet. It's frustrating.
Yeah, it must be really hard sort of thing to deal with, especially if you've got everything ramped up to go, and then at the last minute it gets taken away from you. How was everyone's reaction like to bounce back from that within the group? Because you by no means have just sat down and kept quiet.
We went to someone's birthday, Warbs' birthday, I think, and we went out for Warbs' birthday. Aki chucked macaroni cheese all over himself. And we were celebrating his birthday and half celebrating the finally getting into, because people want Ninja Bike and we want to release it, but it's already been signed by the labels that are coming in for it are massive labels, so it's got potential. So you know it's going to be a big record because so many labels want it, but it keeps falling down. So we're celebrating his birthday, and then we got into the car after the thing and turned the radio on, and there's this premiere of this Heady One song. And I said, this will be the end of it. Like, they won't touch it now.
And you hadn't heard anything at the time either, I assume.
No, so yeah, then it fell apart, and then it's like, so I don't know when it's probably September time, but you're September, October, and you know, it's to get to that stage of saying the contract stage, it takes ages to get to that point. So you can imagine how long the thing, and then it stops, and it's like, what do you do? What do you do next? So we've got a new single and it's ready to go, but now we have problems with shooting videos and stuff because of lockdowns, and so it's a real tough time for musicians and artists at the moment.
But as I said, you haven't just sat down and done nothing. You've been working tirelessly on the Garage Shed, the Yosh brands, building them up and increasing your roster of artists. We take it back. We'll talk about Garage Shed because that's who you did the mix on behalf of. FooR a few years ago were right at the top of the garage scene. 3 Words being the biggest track, and that was in dance charts. That was being played on Radio 1 regularly. So FooR have a background in garage as well. Mm-hmm. Is that linked to the starting of the garage label, the want to start a garage label?
We did Pure Garage before that, which is like the biggest garage compilation. Like
originally EZ.
Yeah, EZ used to do it. It's the world's biggest selling garage compilation. That's how we know about garage. Me and Aki first heard garage on these albums. So we brought that back, and it was when we were putting that together, because it's 60 tracks you had to put together. At that time, there wasn't as much garage as there is now. We think we found 120 garage records that we had to really, really dig to get 120 and 60. And the last CD was quite baseliney because there just wasn't 60 garage records that we could get at that time. But that introduced us to Selector, Black Habit, loads of other producers that we like. Well, these producers are amazing. Selector had done a remix of Sammy Porter tune called True Colours, which is still a great record. Black Habit had done an original, but we started speaking to them, and they were like, we basically sort of said, oh, well, I could write songs for you and we can release them. And we wanted to build a garage scene. So we wanted to take these producers and sort of give them vocals and start. It was like we were trying to be the forefront of the garage revival, which is what they said when we do the thing.
Well, that must have been a horrible task initially, because having garage being so big in the 90s and early 2000s, and then the scene kind of dropping off completely, you had to build that from the ground up.
Well, the problem is the scene didn't drop off completely. It's still all the big Luck and Neats, Artful Dodgers, Lisa Mafia still get booked every week. Well, when clubs are open, got booked every week. So that's the problem with garage, was there was no urgency for the older acts to make new music because they're still working every week, and you can't really blame you can't blame them, because if you're getting 3 or 4 gigs a week, which these people are, and getting paid good money, you don't need to go in and make a new tune. Like there's no need to get that hustle bustle. So that's it never disappeared. It's always been around. But we were like, there was people on the thing. There was Smokey Bubble and B at the time, Mind of a Dragon, Conductor. Those people were all about. It was like small thing, and we were like, we just want to start a label, because there wasn't really a label at the time. So we had Selector, Black Habit, Fawn, and ourselves, and just thought, let's have a go at it and try and go in now it's thriving, like it's gone to all sorts of new levels. Conductors winning awards, and we've got producers from all around the world on the label. It's incredible.
So let's talk about the guest mix, because that was you sharing and exclusively premiering in some cases the new music coming from the label Garage Shares and GS Dubs, which is like the affiliate label. You started off with a track from Vital Techniques. You had Selector stuff in there. You had Tough Culture stuff in there. Mm-hmm. Just talk to me about some of the tracks in there. What label they're coming out on, why you're excited about the artist, etc.
Well, what I'm excited about is I should really have done this every year. I'd love to have gone back to compare what the mix is worth coming out next year, because we've never done it before. I've never just mixed all the label stuff together on purpose like that. And I left out probably about 20 odd tracks that artists will probably see as their bigger records that they want to hold back for some reason. So that's not even the best. There's some great records on there, but there's better ones to come. And there's some artists that aren't even on there because they want to wait for their promo campaign to start. So I was just excited about the quality of the producers, the quality of the music, the quality of the thing, and just the quality of garage all round. That's like, because garage is such a strong place, and because now there's other great labels, the quality of the producers gone up, the music goes up, and that's what we wanted when we started it. So to hear the good shape that UK garage is in was the best bit of the mix for me.
You've got a whole Garage Head roster now, and you've got some of the biggest names. Selector was top 5 selling artist on Beatport last year. Black Habit, Tough Culture, some of the scenes like Veterans and Biggest and Best. Talk to me about some of the up-and-comers that you've got as well. Who should we be looking out for and listening out for this year?
Just about to drop a Ones to Watch EP, which everyone should check out. There's 5 people on there. We're starting to get people from all across the world. Prozac obviously come up last year. He's fantastic. He's done stuff on Kiwi. He's incredible. On our label, it's all the big, because it's time for them to level up. I think like Selector's new one, We Know Speak London, haven't even started promoting it yet, and Target is playing it. It's been playing on Radio 1, 1 Extra, Kiss. It's getting hammered already on the radio stations as it hasn't even come out. So that could be potentially one of the biggest garage records. And I know that we've got bigger garage records than that in the no disrespect to that record, but he's got bigger records than that coming. You know, we've signed an MC who's going to release music
exclusively,
yeah. Like we want to move into artists, so we've got the best producers. We want the best producers, some of the best producers. We want these producers to see what they come up with producing garage. I think the only thing that garage is missing now that it didn't have, the only thing it's missing now that it had back then is the artist. There was like Miss Dynamite, there was Craig David, So Solid Crew, all these incredible artists, and the producers. There hasn't been the artists. There's people that did obviously dip in and do the odd one, but there's not really anyone that's like owning it. So hopefully we can help trigger that, or inspire people to come back and start making garage.
From a sort of label management point of view, because I think it's something that lots of producers who are kind of new to the scene don't know about and may be interested in, is you have your artists who are exclusive to the label, and so you have to manage them. What's it like dealing with all those different artists, different personalities, different egos in many cases? Do you find that a challenging task?
We have like labels like Yosh Pit, which you've released on and stuff, which is when I said we're doing that dubstep phase, we were making dubstep and not getting anywhere. No one replied to anything. No thing. We'd have records that would like. So used to DJs. The records used to get good response in clubs. Even had some ones that did sort of fairly big numbers on YouTube and stuff. And no one would reply. And Mr. Jam did this review show where they reviewed dubstep, and John sort of got angry and messaged Mr. Jam and said, well, listen to our fucking dubstep record. Like, why is it got... And Mr. Jam actually took the time and replied and told us why he wasn't playing our records. And I was like, that's the first time anyone's ever helped us. And like, we learned so much from it. And I was like, if we ever get somewhere, we're going to help people. We're going to help people. So this, for example, Yosh Pit is a label where if we can hear you got, talent. Like, we work with Tengu. Tengu can help with mix downs and stuff. We tutorials, help you get to your music up to a level to release it. Then release it, and then we can see, how the music reacts, how they are on socials, how the thing, and start their journey, because we have no idea how to start our journey. People could listen to our music, say it was good, and do absolutely nothing to help us. So we listen to people's music, we know it's good, and we can start their journey. And then we work with them for a year. Within a year, you kind of get to know a person, get to think, and know which ones are going to be, which ones you're going to work with and stuff. So we don't really have that sort of thing where the people we've worked with, and we work with exclusively, and we work with, like, where we speak to them every single day, we've worked with for at least a year, 2 years. So you know what they want. You know what they want from you. You want from them, and you just kind of have an understanding of what everyone wants. So that makes it easier. But I think, when you first start working with someone, there's like kind of you're feeling each other out and what's things. So we usually spend a year running on those labels and releasing until we go up to, okay, right, let's push it to the next level.
Yeah, so Garage Shed now is one of, if not the biggest garage label in the scene, in my opinion.
Thank you. Kiwi's the biggest, but we're up there.
Yosh is slightly different, obviously different genre, and there are, from my understanding, a lot more bass labels, and it's a lot more competitive. Whereas Kiwi and Garage Shed may stand out as the top ones, there are a lot more in the bass scene which are at a similar level.
Yeah.
So how are you trying to push that label to be the biggest?
We started Josh because we had to. Like, we almost had a record deal for I'm Sorry, as I said before. It fell through, but we put all our money into that I'm Sorry record, literally tens of thousands of pounds to try and get it signed. And obviously if you get it signed, we get the money back. If you don't, you don't. So we had that, and we were making records and getting offered record deals, and they were rubbish. Or I could see they were rubbish. So we signed a couple just to see what labels did, and I just thought we can do this ourselves. So we did it to start, just to release our own music, and we got a distribution deal, which gave us a little bit of money to start. And that's how we started. We never wanted to start a record. We never thought of being... Yosh was like my friend Alistair from Artful Dodger. That's how we say hello to each other. We just say Yosh. That's how we say. So it's literally... It's just by chance. And then we just signed people we like. And people would come to us because the market was good, or they liked the music, the thing. And then we started and just released music. So we never really had, this is where this label is going to go, this is where it's going to be. It's like, okay, we like Jay Faded, we'll release him. And then like Jay Faded just goes like this. And we like Tengu, we're going to release him. And that's the plan. So the plan with it for now is, to make it a place where artists can develop and grow. We can help them. Because there is lots of them, but we can give, with Yosh Pit, we can give people their first releases. And if they go well, then we can move them up to Yosh. So it's kind of to help on the artist journey, and as I say, help with mixdowns, help with tutorials, help artists grow, because that's what we were always lacking. And if someone would have done this for us, I wouldn't be so old sat here talking to you about this. I would be retired maybe, but because no one helps us. But it's true. Like, if people would have helped us, then we would have been in a different position a long time ago. But no one did, and no one wants to help. So we made sure that our company is set up. Literally every label for every genre is set up to help someone.
Yeah, I get the feeling Yosh, I know that Yosh used to just be a phrase that you said, and everything you've started has been with your friends, and there's a real sort of sense of like community in that. And I think you also have that sort of outlook to Southampton, the city that you're from. Mm-hmm. Why do you sort of feel so strongly about like how you are in your community? And
because when we worked in the record, when I worked in the record shop and worked with James Abila and John Doe, who's John from FooR, a guy called FeatureCast, who's a massive breaks producer, and then DJ Hixie owned it, and then DJ Brisk would come and use the studio upstairs. All these people just in Southampton. I was looking around, like Alan Fitzpatrick used to buy records. I think he was called the Test Tube Babies. He used to make Hard House. But like all this talent used to come in, and he used to think, why is the owner of this record shop not doing something to try and bring all these people together and try and create this scene? And I've always been told throughout my music career that I have to move to London to make something, and I did move to London to do it, to get the distribution deal. But I want people to come here. I want to one of our goals is once we release a series of albums that we're going to release for an artist to come here to make an album like they would come to London travel thing. I don't want people to travel out of here. Like there's so many great artists come out of here, come out from here and feel like they have to go to London, have to be there. And yeah, you have to go to London, you can't avoid it, but there's like a 10-minute walk is Jojo F, who's produced like 6 or 7 top 40 records in the last 2 years down that way. And then I think Alan Fitzpatrick's offices and stuff are about 10 minutes that way. That's just in this street. There's a studio upstairs for a different company. Like this Southampton's got it. It's just no one's helped harness it. So that's
why do you think that Southampton has kind of been underrepresented? Is that just because of the stereotype that everyone should go to London?
Yeah, everyone's doing what they're told, because you do what you're told to try and get what you want. If someone says you move to London because you want to do everything you can, because this is people's dreams. This is our dream. So that's always been our thing, and people will do whatever they feel they need to get there. But it's going to be harder, and it probably is harder to do this stuff ourselves. If you go to a label with a following and a thing, and you're part of something that's already going, it's going to be easier to start something ourselves. But this is bigger than us. This is artists in Southampton going, okay, we can go to them and they can help us do this and help us do that. We just done a Sounds of Southampton album where we got it into charts, and that was giving artists their first chance to release their first music video, their first photo shoots, their first this. Like, no one was there to give us first anything. And as I say, like, I would be a lot younger. Like, I would have had, success a lot younger if someone would have helped. Not, I'm just a bit gutted that I'm getting old, I suppose. But we also, we meet with the council and stuff because we want to change music education so people can find out about the business of it. And, it's great to learn to play the keyboard and stuff, but once you come out and you need to try and make money and do stuff, that's the real education in music you need, because people don't know how to do it. And nowadays it's so easy to release your own music. That's what needs to be taught.
I don't know the exact facts behind this, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Southampton are going for City of Culture.
That's right, yeah.
2021 or
2025.
Are you much involved with that then?
Yeah, that's part of what that album is, and Tyrone's really involved in it. He's done the videos. They put his picture on a bench. Like, we have meetings because we are a big part of culture in Southampton. We're like from the we want to release it, all sorts of music from Southampton, and we were putting on events and giving young people a platform to perform, a platform to release music. So yeah, we're involved in that, and yeah, we really hope that that's something that we can help bring to the city.
So the way you talk, bringing through all these artists and helping develop these pre-established artists, dare I ask, does that mean that there won't be much more Gavin Foord music coming out?
No, I've done a whole album in lockdown. I just want to get the FooR single out first. But I don't know if that's going to be possible to get the FooR, because the FooR, FooR's our baby. That's the reason why all of this is here and why we can help. So, but yeah, like, we were writing a FooR album before lockdown. Lockdown come and stopped that. The first song I moved all the studio to my house. The first song we did in lockdown just didn't sound anything like the rest of the album. So I thought, we'll wait. And also, like, it's a group thing, so we can't all be in the same room. It's the energy, maybe that's what the energy's off. It just didn't feel, it's an amazing record. So I didn't do any music for ages, and then, this thing's depressing. This whole situation is depressing. Like, we had tours of Australia, but New Zealand, but things are cancelled, like life goals. So I started making music just to distract myself from what was going on. And that's what's become a Gavin Foord album. But there's some songs on it that are 5 years old that I've always wanted to do a project called FooRchestra, which is it's more music to listen to. It's all live musicians and all the parts recorded. And I started it 5 years ago. It was always meant to be FooR's second album, but because we still haven't released the first album, it's now just become my album, because it's the way we work is we start ideas and then we all come together to finish them. So those are all ideas I've started, and because we've never got to the second album, we've never got together to work on them. So just started finishing them myself, and hope it might come out this year, basically.
But it's a solo album.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a mix of all the different styles you've done across the years, or have you just chosen one style to fight?
It's pretty much, it's all garage music.
All garage.
But it's not very, it all sounds like three words, I guess. It's like, it's all full song driven.
So you'd rather them follow like a more traditional song structure than build up, drop sort of thing?
Yeah, I really struggle to make music that isn't structured in a song. Like if there's no vocals in it, like it takes us forever. Like where when we were doing the album before lockdown, there was one day where we wrote and recorded 4 songs in one day. Like we can power through, like we just understand it. But if you were like, just do a tune that builds up and drops, if for some reason it's not.
Do you have any sort of classical music theory background or anything like that, or is it just all passion?
None of us do. No. I mean, I've taught myself in lockdown, I've taught myself expressions to help communicate to the musicians that I work with on my album what I want, because they're geniuses and I'm not. And like you try and say, a bit like this, and it just wasn't getting there. So I've taught myself certain phrases to go, okay, what I need is something that's this, that, and a third. And they go, oh, okay, I completely understand what you mean now. Where before I'm going like, it's like you're talking a different language. So, but no.
On the album, I assume there's going to be some Southampton representation as well. On
the Gavin Foord album and the FooR album, yeah, it's like I've always wanted to do like the first Artful Dodger album, where it's vocalists that aren't known but they're great. That's always been the goal for the first FooR album, but it's because now it's the albums being written simultaneously. Yeah. It's the goal for both. So
we can all be happy that there will be more FooR and Gavin Foord music in the future.
Yeah, there'll be loads as soon as we can, as soon as we physically can.
Good. So I'm going to switch it up a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe just to get a title, but you have quite a famous friend.
Yeah.
In ex-Geordie Shore star Vicky Patterson.
Yeah.
And there's a story that I've heard before, which I'd love for you to tell again. And I think it involves you, a suitcase, and I want to say an Elton John costume, or was it an Elvis costume?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. We were filming for Vicky's TV show, and she lived in a hotel for like maybe even 2 years. She didn't have a place in London, and she's moving house. And basically I helped her pack. The Elton John thing, I don't even know how you know that. I don't know where I put it.
There might have been a picture or something.
Yeah, but I was just dressing up in her clothes. Not that it's not something I do, wear women's clothes. Just on that day I did. But I found an outfit that looked like Elton John. I thought it looked good. So I did that and then helped her move. But then as we left the car park, basically there's like paparazzi everywhere and there at the side of the thing. So we couldn't go straight to where she'd moving to, because then they'd know where she lived. So we were driving, and it's a horrible experience, because obviously she's so upset that it's horrible. It's a horrible thing, paparazzi and stuff. That sort of that level of it, that you're being tailed. So we had to pull into a hotel, like we're going to go into a hotel. Pulled into the hotel, try to lose them, and then they just waited outside. They just plotted outside. So we were like, fucked, we don't know what we're going to do here. So we put her in the suitcase. We emptied the suitcase, put her in it, wheeled her out, and put her in the back of a cab.
That's amazing.
And yeah, she drove to a shopping centre and then got out. Yeah, it worked.
You have a really good friendship though. How has someone from down south become such good friends with someone who lives all the way up in the northeast?
I DJ'd when I was doing the student gigs. I DJ'd at our first ever live PA in Southampton. It was like A-level results, and no one came. I think the show had only been on TV for like a week. It was a crazy booking to book someone on a TV show that hadn't even really been on TV. So no one really came. And yeah, we just got talking, and then just, you know, been friends ever since. She's like my sister. We've known it just like 10 years ago. Like we speak every day. Like she's she's an amazing influence. I don't think we would be here without her, to be honest.
That's great. Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks for telling that story. Even though it's a bit off topic to the rest of
It's
what
all right.
we're
Yeah, I panicked about the Elton John thing. I don't remember putting it up, but yeah.
I got some more just generic sort of questions as we come to the end. Do you remember your first time DJing, your first show?
Yeah, it was at a club called The Beach. Do you remember The Beach? Yeah, I had a fucking speedboat as a DJ booth. And John drove down. John's always lived like he likes to live out in the country, but he drove down to surprise and watch me. It was for a night called Debauchery. Do you remember Debauchery? Which was a hard house night. Right. And yeah, shout out James Rostance. He was the promoter. He put me on, and that was the first. I feel like that was the first gig. Like in a club, yeah, that was the first gig in a club, yeah, and I had the record, the order sorted, and like, yeah, it was
all plain sailing though, no horror stories of.
There was one horror, not from that gig, but from another one. We played at a club. I think it was called Breezers. Was it Breezers in it in Eastleigh on the roundabout? And my friend Alex Churton, MC Technique, or Uncle Mike Nitro, as he's now called. His album's out soon, Uncle Mike Nitro, go get that. He was MCing, and we were DJing, but it was like in a glass room, so you couldn't hear the crowd. And I always DJ'd and gone across genres, always, even when it was vinyl. And I was playing a trance record, and I tried to mix it in Daniel Bedingfield into this trance record. Daniel Bedingfield was like a test press. So it was, tried to mix this, mix it in. I've looked up after I've got it in, because I've done it. Whole dance floor was fucked off, but I can't see, so I've looked up for admiration. The whole dance floor's gone. Then loads of fluff's got a needle, and it's just gone. So I've cleared the dance floor, then the needle's gone. And then Alex still takes the piss out of me for it now. But I've DJed so much for so many years, I've made every single mistake. Like, when people ask about getting nervous, I got nervous in the Andy C time, but there's nothing, because everything has gone wrong. Absolutely everything that can go wrong DJing has happened to me, so I'm just used to it.
USBs.
Unplugging the USB, I've in the vinyl days, obviously you have to pick the record, get the next record, and I've been talking, the music stopped, and there's been no vinyl on, so I've pressed play on the CD player just because I saw a CD was in there, and it was Michael Jackson Beat It, but halfway through. It was it sounded fucking mental. But yeah, literally we did we used to play, me and Aki used to play, I keep looking back at Aki, by the way, for everyone watching. We used to play at a place called Seymour's, which is like a small bar there. We used to do we used to DJ there, and it used to be an early set and a late set, and it's like a real small bar. It can't be more than 100 people, can it? And it's like a long corridor. There used to be this guy that used to DJ as well, but he was a fucking helmet. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And I'm still quite bad for being late to things. A little bit late, I've turned up to DJ. He's just fucking gone, see me, just pulled out everything, unplugged everything, stopped. This was a Serato day, so I've had to take out the box thing. Well, people just abusing me, blaming me. The owner's come over and gone, rest in peace, Colin. He's come over what the fuck's going on? The geezer's gone. I've gone, mate, stop it. It's the geezer's just gone. He's just left me to a barrage of abuse when I'm trying to set this laptop up, get the thing, you got to do the plug-in. He had the worst DJ booth. It was DJ equipment from 1975, so it wasn't easy to set up anyway. Oh, that was one I can remember, you just stood there whilst a room of because Seymour's obviously I used to love Seymour's. It used to be, used to be, but not the nicest people. So you can imagine
quite intimidating.
To be just to be literally stood there trying to set up. Obviously, you get like, I was going to call it Mark Hughes head. We always call it Mark Hughes head. I can't remember what club Mark Hughes is manager of, but we used to say, imagine his head. I think he was having a really bad time. Like, that's what we always call it. When you're just like, fuck, it's going wrong, and you're trying to sort it out, and you're just sort of sweating, and like that was a bad one. So there's nothing really. I fear I've fallen off. I fell off stage at Isle of Wight with Jacob Skills and Bass Boy.
The most common mistake is queuing the same deck in it, press it, stop it.
Yeah, you stop the music a million times. Just take the USB out. But we've done the Isle of Wight festival. Like, we played at Isle of Wight festival one year to like 30 people. Then the next year 300. Then we done it like 12. We were like real big on the Isle of Wight for some reason. I loved the Isle of Wight. We did this gig. We finished, and then all these people want photos at the front, and it's like a stage. And I've pointed to the geezer. I've gone, how do I get down? He's gone, I just jumped down. But I've jumped down onto this, those carts, those boxes where they move things, so it's got wheels on it. So I've jumped on it, and the wheels have just gone like that, and I've just, in front of a whole crowd, how there's not a video of it. I don't know. But, like, yeah, I could have been fucked then. But, yeah, like, literally absolutely anything you can think of, it's happened. So, yeah.
It's got to be reassuring to anyone listening who's not DJ'd before and might be worried about what could go wrong. And
yeah, it's going to happen. Like, everything, it's just get it out of the way. Like, everything, it's like anything, you've just got to keep going and get through it and these things. But to be honest, like, I don't think many people notice, like, I've had things where I feel like I've made mistakes, and I've sort of, we played one gig in Amsterdam for the Friends of FooR tour, and we did 4 dates because everything's 4. We did 4 dates. We did Southampton, Bournemouth, London, and Amsterdam. Pulled out to this club in Amsterdam. This club was in the middle of nowhere, and there was no people around. And I was like, "Fuck's sake!" Like, we've come to Amsterdam too quick. Like, that was thing. Turned up, it was rammed. But I don't know if have you been to Amsterdam?
yeah,
Have you been to a club in Amsterdam?
yep.
Basically, everyone's stoned. Well, this is what I put it down to. So whenever you DJ in Amsterdam, like, apart from ADU, because it's people coming in, like, it's locals, they're quite relaxed. It's like, so I'm DJing, I'm going hammer tongs. We had Effie with us, she performed, and it looked like the crowd just weren't having it. And I was like, fuck's sake, come to Amsterdam, got all these people, and there's a DJ called Vato Gonzalez watching. He's like there to come to see us, to book us for things, and he's like amazing producer, one of our heroes. And I'm like, fuck's sake. So we've finished, and he's come up to me and he's gone, man, I've never seen an Amsterdam crowd go that mad. He goes, you absolutely smashed it. And I thought, is this geezer taking the piss out of me? Like, I didn't think they moved. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, man, I can't believe it. I've never seen a crowd go that wild. And he was being serious, and I was like, well, I thought they hated it. But yeah, like, people don't, you can think your thing and you can make a mistake and people don't notice. Yeah, people notice when that guy pulled out all the system, obviously, because it went quiet. But, unless things go real quiet for a real long time, you're pretty much safe, DJs.
What about highlight shows, or just obviously the Coors Light thing we said, playing after Andy C.
We did the Schweier, which was an amazing experience. Like, because they pick you up in these cars and they take you to restaurants, and you have all the money to spend at like this amazing restaurant. And there's a green room where you have your own sofa, and it was us and Tiny Temper, Lethal Bizzle and Chipmunk and James Hype, and everyone's in this thing and room, and they give you all the drink, and the bar's free. They just treat you like superstars. So, like, that's good from a superstar point of view. Played Amnesia, that was like mental. You never think we're going to do any of these things. Boomtown was mental. That Isle of Wight gig I talked about, the Isle of Wight festival, was one of the best days of my life. The best, I think, we did Pier Jam in Blackpool.
Yeah.
And we had a gig in like Plymouth the day before, so it's like couldn't be further away. Drove all the way, and obviously Pier Jam's on a pier. as we get into Blackpool, it just starts really, really raining. It's like fucking it down with rain. And we're getting messages like no one's on this pier because it's raining, which makes, and we're like, fucking hell, we've just gone 6 hours. Like, we really wanted to do pier jam, like, gutted. And like, literally pulled up, parked, it's raining, go through the thing. We go through this, you go through like a building and you come out the side of the building and it stopped raining. And literally it's just filled up literally as we've gone on. And we played and it was one of the best sets we've ever played. And
so it filled up as you got there, really?
Literally, it was, when we got there, it was still raining, we were still fucked. And we walked through like a building and then as we walked out the building the other side, the sun come out, filled back up. By the time we went on, it was full. It was one of the best sets we've ever done. That's how we got our manager off the back of that gig. We got so many, I think Amnesia come off the back of that gig, how well we did. It's like, so that was like for everything, for the story leading up to it, what led of it, the set, that's one, that's a special one. But we're very lucky to have so many special experiences that I never thought we'd have. I never thought we'd get to this stage.
Have you got any either venues or cities that you are on your bucket list that you haven't managed to tick off?
We've done Detonate Festival in Nottingham, but never actually played Nottingham. Any of the like, I don't know. I always wanted to do Nottingham. We've always wanted to do Fabric. Yeah, we cover quite. You know, we've done well. Australia's the goal, and we had it last COVID. Like the COVID come the week we're going to announce the tour. Like that's been my goal for as long as I can remember. So that's the thing. So like, touch wood, we can get that back on.
Yeah, hopefully you'll be able to get there then once this is all over.
Yeah, once this fucking thing's done, hopefully we can get that back going.
Aside from garage and drum and bass and bass line, do you listen to any other sort of music? Just
I don't listen to any of that music.
Oh, really?
No. I listen to like Jasmine Sullivan album or the Macaires. That's what I listen to at the moment. Macaires, St. John. I like R&B and soul music, which probably comes from why we like the connection to songs and vocals, because that's all I listen to. I don't like. I've started a thing again in learning so much about production techniques. Now I don't listen to our music. I don't mind listening to music we've done, but I don't listen to anything I'm working on. So when I come back to it, you come to it. I don't get used to it. I used to listen to things over and over again and like get demo-itis, where you come back and it doesn't sound as good as it did. Where now I've literally, as soon as it's finished, don't listen to it again. And then when you come in, you can go, that bit's too long, or that bit's not right, and that bit's not right. So yeah, I don't listen to, and I try not to listen to any. Obviously, we listen to music for the label and to DJ. Like I go through things. I have sort of set things where I go, am I good? What would I DJ? What's good for the label? But I don't want our music to sound like anyone else, so I don't want to be influenced by anyone. So it's easy to hear something and subconsciously take it on board and do it. So I try not to listen to overly listen to any music like that. Not that I don't like it, just it's all a creative thing.
So I've got 3 more questions. First one is, which song do you wish you made?
Oh, that's a good one. What, any song?
Any song. Should we do one within the genre?
Aki, Feel the Rush. I was singing it earlier. That's what. One song that I wish I made.
If we do one within your genres and then just one of all time.
Yeah, that's. I should have been. I wish I made. Fuck.
You narrow it down to maybe a garage anthem or something.
A garage record.
Yeah.
Gabrielle would be the one. That the orchestra idea became because we did a live version of. It's on YouTube. If you search Gavin Foord presents orchestra, we did a live version of Gabrielle with musicians. It was the first thing ever done, and that's where the orchestra idea come from. So that record probably, obviously it's an amazing record, but it's probably closest to what I make as Gavin Foord. The 2 records I've put out aren't a reflection of what I make. Actually, they were ones that would work in a club, because that was the idea, was we'll give them the clubbier and what people expect, and then actually ease them into the album. But that sort of live instrumentation and stuff, that's close to what I'd make anyway. So that'll be a garage record that I'd always want to make.
Anyone who follows you on social media will know that you have 2 loves in life, and they are chocolate orange and peanut butter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to ask? If you can only have one.
Chocolate orange.
No, there was not even a hesitation there.
No. Peanut butter's a new thing. I've only been into it like the last year and a half, 2 years. I've only just discovered it, so easy come, easy go.
A chalky orange boy.
100%, yeah. It's fantastic.
Well, I'll say thank you for coming on, and thank you for the mix again.
Thank you for having me.
And I'll tell everyone to like and subscribe and comment and let me know who you want to feature on the podcast next. And I'll finish with this question, which would be one bit of advice to give to your 16-year-old self.
Don't 16-year-old. I don't know. Like I don't think I do. Like I don't think I would do anything different. Like if I was to go back, and I think everything happens for a reason. So I don't think I'll go back. But I think advice I'd give to other people that are 16.
Changing the question, but go for it.
Well, because I wouldn't give my, like, I think, you know, I think I would have, my advice would probably be to myself would be to believe in myself more, and to actually like just go out and do it, because when we started going out and doing it for ourselves is when it's all sort of come about. We were looking for help and looking for endorsement and people to sort of put us on, which, you know, is great and stuff, but we didn't get it, and I go down about it. But if we would have believed in what we were doing, basically when we did CLSM, we got hardcore onto Radio 1, got a hardcore show. That was our belief in our thing, and I lost that belief and I lost that confidence in that break. So if I could tell myself is keep the confidence that you have now, because it's taken up into the Coors Light advert to go, actually our music must be quite good, because it, like, you know, all these streams and stuff, whatever, you don't think it's good until you get sort of sign off like that. So keep the confidence. My advice to 16-year-olds is enjoy. I've been thinking about this a lot whilst we can't release music and all these record deals, is enjoy the start of it, enjoy the first radio play, the first time a DJ plays it, enjoy the journey, because that's the best bit. Once you get to this stage where you're having record deals fall through, you're trying to get clearance for this and clearance for that, or you're waiting for the right time to do a music video, all that stuff, like it's all great and I love it, but like the best feelings are that first time you get this and the first time you do that. So yeah, enjoy the journey and be patient. There's no rush. These things, this game takes ages. There's no shortcut. So yeah, enjoy the journey and every moment.
Yeah, that's a great message to finish on, I think. Once again, thanks for coming on. Once again, like, subscribe, share, comment. The Gavin Foord Bass Hive guest mix is out now. I will link that in the description. Thank you for all supporting it so far, and we'll see you on the next pod.
What up?